The Angry Chicken is a production of Amove TV. Bookmark amove.tv for more gaming and esports shows. The Angry Chicken is directly supported by listeners like you via patreon.com/TAC.
Everyone, get in here! Ready for action! I've got the beast in my sight.
A podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. This is The Angry Chicken.
Greetings and welcome back, everyone, to The Angry Parrot. I mean The Angry Chicken. This is the podcast all about Hearthstone. I'm Garrett Weinzierl, joined as always by Jocelyn Carney. Jocelyn, how are you doing on this fine day of booty, plunder, eye patches, and everything in between?
Well, I mean, you know how much I love booty, Garrett, so obviously this has been the best 24 hours ever.
Oh my God, Jocelyn, look at that loot.
I was like, where's he going with this?
Hey, there's always a destination. We just aren't always sure where it's going to be.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, I know I have been in Battlegrounds. So much Battlegrounds, all of the Battlegrounds, all of the time. I love pirates. I just do. I love them. Is
this a meeting? Do you want to come up to the podium and say, hello, everyone, my name is Jocelyn and I love pirates?
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it feels like. I'm so excited that they're in the game now, and I'm excited about all the new minions, the new heroes. It's fun to play. It's fun to be in Battlegrounds right now for all the reasons we're going to talk about later. So, man, I'm really stoked on Battlegrounds right now.
It's incredible. This is fair warning, folks. This is going to be a very Battlegrounds heavy show for reasons that are probably obvious to you. But there's a lot of Battlegrounds going on. We're going to talk about it. Before we get into that, we have an announcement. We have some people to thank. Let's kick it off with that announcement. Jocelyn, who are we going to be joined by on next week's program?
We get to talk to Slissa, which I'm so excited for because she is an amazing streamer. She's a great Battlegrounds player. She's very, very nice and very, very charismatic. So, dudes, I'm stoked. We need to, just make sure you don't miss next week's show because it's going to be so good.
I mean, it's always good, but he's got a little extra helping of awesome on top. So I'm stoked to have Slissa on. I was enjoying my cereal this morning while watching her play Battlegrounds because I played a few games last night. But you know, then can I regale you with the latest like completely off topic chronicle in the life of Garrett and Katie binge watching Netflix real quick?
Okay.
We finished Mad Men. We'd never seen it before, so I have like hot takes from 5 years ago, which I'm not going to give on this program. But
I don't think I ever finished the final season.
Oh well, we did last night. And so I played a few games. I had a bunch of stuff I had to get done yesterday, and so I like in the evening I played. I think I've got like 4 or 5 games in, and then I had I had like a scheduled like Tuesday night date night with Katie to finish Mad Men. So that's what I did. And then I immediately passed out because I'm old. I'm a boomer as far as gamers are concerned. And so anyway, woke up this morning, I was like, all right, cereal time. I need to watch a few things to try and wrap my head around some of these pirate heroes that didn't get to play and also these pirate minions that didn't get to play. So I threw on Slissa, had a great time. Really stoked to have her on the program next week. And I have lots of other actual Hearthstone stories to regale everyone with because I played so many freaking games of Battlegrounds today. I can't even, I think I hit double digits. I think I might have done more than 10 games today. Anyways, before we get into the meat of the show, we want to thank those of you supporting us over on the Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/TAC right now to support the show. If you like the show, if you like what Jocelyn and I are putting down, you want to support us, the Patreon is the best way to do so. You get access to things like an ad-free version of the show that once you get like your link and you plug it into your podcatcher, you're just going to keep getting shows on the regular like you would any other podcast with no ad in it. You're also going to get access to the Discord, and there's some fine folks in there, like some of our newer folks. Caden Just Caden, RV Panzalan, and Anthony Palm. Thank you very much, you three, for your support of the Angry Chicken. A lot of new folks signing up over the last week. We really appreciate it. So appreciate it, everyone. Now, Jocelyn, are you ready to do what we came here to do, which is talk about pirates?
Yar!
Have a good battle, friend.
I will, Bob, with like one less eye patch. I'm going to have a hook. It's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. There's so much in the new patch. So patch 17.4 has dropped. It was announced Monday, hit the game lots of things were announced Monday. Patch 17.4 hit the game on Tuesday. Pirates are in Battlegrounds. We got you would argue, because we were talking earlier, 4 new heroes, because Patches has been changed so much he does not resemble the many-eyed pirate monster that he was before, besides just obviously his art's the same, but his hero power is so completely
But his hero power is completely different. So yeah, I think he counts as a new hero.
Yes. And then 17 new minions. Wow. So this is
that more or less than dragons? It's probably right on this, around the same, but it sounds like when you say 17 new minions, it sounds like too many.
Well, hopefully chat room can remind us, because I was not prepared to answer that question. It was definitely something
I'm sorry. It just came to me when you said that. I was like, whoa, that's a lot.
Celestalon in the chat room would like to say that he believes dragons were 15 dragons.
Okay. So yeah, so it is a lot. It's 2 more.
We had more heroes with dragons, though.
We did, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we would consider Galakron a hero, but nonetheless, more dragon heroes than pirate heroes. But still, massive patch. You and I just talked last week when we were revisiting / honestly, for the first time, really sinking our teeth into the roadmap that was shown forever ago. We were talking about that, like, kind of feels like something should be. This might be more for Battlegrounds, that or they didn't really live up to, I believe it was XR who was saying expect updates around the size of the Dragons update with every expansion in Battlegrounds. So good to know. Good to know, because we got a mini update a couple weeks ago, and now we got this massive, like completely meta-defining update in Battlegrounds. So, and before we even get into talk about pirates, they made one kind of stealthy change, although I love all of our listeners on Twitter. None of y'all missed this. So many people have been adding us about this. You clearly noticed it in the notes. There are now shifting minion pools in Battlegrounds, which means at the start of each game of Battlegrounds, this isn't like a seasonal thing, a weekly thing, or even a daily thing. This is a per game thing. 5 of the 6 currently available minion types, because yes, we do now have 6 with pirates being added, will be playable. That basically means 1 of the 6 tribes, beasts, demons, dragons, mechs, murlocs, and pirates, will not be in the draft pool of the game, the current specific game of Battlegrounds that we have just existed into. With one very big exception right here with this patch, which is pirates are going to be in every single game for a decent amount of time.
Yeah, and we should also mention, on top of the minion types being removed, things that only interact with that minion type. So for instance, Megasaur, if Murlocs are not in your game, even though Megasaur is a beast, then Megasaur is not going to be in your game. So that also extends to heroes. So if you say are in a game with no dragons, then you won't see Alexstrasza. She won't be offered. So you are restricted a little bit more in terms of your minions and your hero pools, which I think is probably more impactful than the addition of pirates. Like, this changes the way you play every single Battleground game. And I think it's why I've kind of been, excuse me, sorry, why I've been struggling so much in this last 24 hours is because every game is different, and not just different in terms of, you know, like what minions are offered, but just what's in the pool, what your opponents can be playing. It's like, okay, there's going to be a meta for each of the possible combinations and what is best. And trying to figure that out on the fly is so difficult.
It really is. I mean, if you were, there's certain things where, you know, if you're going for one tribe and like specifically, and you're going to try and just like force one specific minion type, it doesn't really change things all that much. If there's an entire minion type that's missing, well, you can't force that type. But any of these, you know, menagerie type compositions, or I'm a big fan of the Divine Shield composition. So if dragons aren't in there, actually,
it's suddenly way worse, right?
Yeah, honestly, you probably should just not try it, because there's like two of the best Divine Shield related minions in there. And again, I want to mention just how important it is that, you know, they say in the notes that heroes that are synergy specific aren't in there. And it was later specified by Celestalon on Twitter, saying that categories include synergy cards as you'd hope / inspect. So I would say it's intelligent design versus literal design, right? Because the first thing I did, because I do a podcast and we stream it live with video, and we want to do visual aids like displaying the website as we talk about things, is go to the card section that shows all the Battleground cards on the official Hearthstone website. And I was like, I'm going to hit pirates. And then I'm like, oh, hey, hold on. Where's the 6-star ship? I'm like, oh, well, the ship isn't a pirate. But when if you go on the actual official Hearthstone website and you sort by pirates, it's not shown there. But the game itself and the way that it, you know, categorizes all of this stuff, it's smart enough to know things that should definitely be removed alongside specific minion types. So,
yeah,
I dig it. This is great. So I've been really fortunate in the few, I would say the few, actually probably for a 2-day average, the many games of Battlegrounds I played the last couple of days, I've gotten the new heroes offered to me quite a bit. But typically, as you know, Jocelyn, with my luck, that doesn't always happen to me, and I can be a little bored. Things can feel a little samey to me when that happens, although we have so many new minions with pirates, I feel like that wouldn't really happen. But whatever the case is, I am so far from bored, even when... Like, I'm doing a normal, like, I played 2 really classic, like, Beast Comp games today, for example. And it still felt super different because of certain things not being in the game. You know that I personally have been here on my soapbox week in and week out being like, I'm a little done with poisonous Murlocs. Well, sometimes my game is done with Murlocs in general. They're just not there. And it's kind of nice. I think they could have done a little bit more with Murlocs, but whatever. We'll get to it later. So before we get in and talk about the new pirate heroes, there's one more thing that's worth mentioning, because these new heroes are in that early access that we are now familiar with, meaning if you do not have the Tavern Pass, you do not currently have a chance of even having them offered to you.
Which I had to double check and make sure, because I thought for a second I didn't have the pass and the perks, because with all the games that I've played, I've never even been offered Hook Tusk, let alone like a played game. Like, I think I've only played with Patches and the dude that gives you gold.
Sidebar time, Jocelyn. Sidebar. You ready for this? Can we officially coin hashtag Joss Luck as bad luck in place of hashtag Garrett luck? Because I believe I had a better haul than you did in Ashes of Outland, and now I feel like my Battlegrounds luck and also just my ladder luck has been a lot greater than.
I have definitely been in a slump. We can absolutely say that. I feel like when Demon Hunters, and yes, I'm going to blame Demon Hunters. When Demon Hunters came out, it was just like my Hearthstone world imploded. I lost all my luck, and yeah. Demon Hunters.
Sorry. But anyways, the point is the Tavern Pass.
I'm not even seeing them on ladder that much anymore. It's not even a problem. I will forever hate the Demon Hunters.
All right. I still want whatever weird world you're in where you're not seeing priest on ladder. But the point we were building up to is that the Tavern Pass will have its cost reduced. It has not yet had its cost reduced, however. Yes, it has.
Yeah, it has.
Never mind. Sorry. My bad. My bad. So the price of the Tavern Pass has been reduced, and it's going to stay that way for the remainder of Ashes of Outland, for the rest of the Ashes of Outland expansion cycle. So there you go. You can get in, you can get more hero options, and you can also have a chance at the new pirates earlier than folks that don't have the Tavern Pass. They did say in the post that they're going to be released to everyone, the new pirate heroes, on June 23rd. So
yeah, so you get like 2 weeks to play around with the early access heroes, and then and I think patches is not included in those 3, right?
I don't believe so.
Because he's technically not like new, even though he is totally new.
Returning. Yeah. Also not as good as the new heroes, in my opinion. But, well, most of the new heroes.
I think you just played him wrong.
I think pirates are mediocre at best. Yeah.
You take that back.
It's all right. It's all right.
Yar.
Yar. Yar.
That's different than my happy yes yar. That's my angry gur yar.
We'll get to that. You're coming at me cutlass out. So you're making me spoil further or future opinions. But let's talk about those new pirate heroes that are in early access. Starting with Captain Eudora, whose hero power is called Buried Treasure. It's going to cost you 1 gold. And it reads, dig for a golden minion, 4 digs left. So you are going to have to dig 4 times to dig for that golden minion.
Yeah, you're basically paying 4 gold over 4 turns to buy a random golden minion.
Yes.
Because it goes in your hand and you get to play it, and then you get the discover as well, which is pretty nutty.
It is. It is pretty nutty. It's Reno adjacent, I guess we could call it.
But even Reno, like you transform a minion, so you don't get, there's less randomness, right? Because you get to choose what you target.
Well, there's no randomness. But
then you don't get the.
But you don't get the discover, right?
Yeah. But you don't get the discover, yeah.
Right. It's like Eudora and Reno. There's a really big trade off between the two. It's like, which would you, if say the option actually came down between the two, which do you want more? Would you like a random golden minion and get the discover, or the exact golden minion you're interested in but no discover?
Yeah, to build your comp around. I think I still like Eudora because I think that the discover can be so powerful, and you can kind of like just golden minions in general. When there's games where I can't get triples, I do not do well. So, I mean, I feel like that's been the downfall of a lot of my Battlegrounds games in the last couple of days, has been just like, I can't triple up. And when you can't triple and you don't get those discovers and everyone else is getting those discovers, those higher tier minions are just so powerful that yeah, I think she's better. I haven't checked stats. I'm sure Garrett's probably got stats up in the background.
I do right now. You want to know?
Yeah, I do. Is she better or is Reno better?
Eudora
so
is
far
infinitely better than Reno.
Okay.
Like infinitely. Reno is in the bottom 10 and Eudora is, looks like maybe 11th. They don't on HS Replay, which is where we check to see win rates on heroes. And again, this is like slightly more than 24 hours worth of stats.
Yeah.
But again, we're not sponsored at all. We just like them. And HS Replay is kind to us to keep us up to date on things. Current patch, there's over 3 million games logged on the current. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And that's the number tracked by HS Replay too, right? Like not everybody, because for the longest time, I wasn't even running HS Replay in the background while I was playing Battlegrounds. Until they introduced the stats at the top to tell you if you were supposed to win, tie, or lose.
I need to talk to them. When you switch it to 7 days, it's only 1 million games. So maybe there's something weird going on there. Anyway, because that seems excessive. But whatever the case is, Eudora doing significantly better than Reno, probably because of exactly what you mentioned, which is discovering into a higher tier is really powerful. I mean, this is the reason that, Alex Straza isn't like total booty, right? Like, I don't like Alex Straza. I personally have a really bad experience with Alex Straza, but the chance of discovering
she's my favorite.
higher than you might possibly should have access to tier minions, it's worth a lot.
So yeah, and we should also mention Rebel Rider in the chat room is also mentioning this right now. So when Eudora unearths her treasure, it's from your current tavern tier or lower. So you can't crazy high roll on her.
Right.
I mean, you can. There obviously, will still be crazy high rolls. Like some golden minions are just going to be straight up better than other golden minions, but then the discover works like any other golden discover. So, but yeah, you can't like on your first dig when you're at Tavern tier 2, you can't get like a golden tier 6.
Right, exactly. So
which keeps her in line.
Yeah, again, we're looking at a day's worth of stats, take everything with a grain of salt, but I would say that a lot, like the guaranteed value here is that discover, and you have control over when you finish this. It's only 1 gold. There's a counter. That counter updates in real time because the interface for Eudora is well designed. It's no surprise when you should be getting this gold. So if you're trying to play...
Well, and you can control when you play it out too, because it's like a bonus minion, right? So if it's a crappy golden and you have no use for it in your comp, just hang on to it and then wait till you're tier 4 or 5 and bam. Exactly.
So it's kind of like by the time you're 4 or 5, which are usually it's what we're looking for, right? I feel like the majority of the meta is like trying to go for those 6-tier minions. But there's plenty of comps that really want a Bran or really want a Rivendare. That's exactly it, is that you're going to have a much better understanding and much more control over when you get to do that discover to find a minion that's higher than you. All of that being said, I think Eudora might be the least powerful of these pirates, and that's without actually taking a look at the current win rates. Looks like I might be wrong, by the way, now that I'm looking. But whatever the case is, still like the design of this hero. I mean, as someone who liked Reno, of course I'm going to like Eudora. This is the one new hero I haven't had a chance to play yet, though. I have played both Crag and Hook Tusk multiple times. Eudora has not been offered to me once. So,
yeah, I haven't had a chance to dig for minions yet either. So,
yeah. Speaking of Crag, let's talk about him. So Sky Captain Crag is the next new pirate hero. The hero power is called Piggy Bank. It costs 0. It's not passive. It costs 0. And it reads, gain 1 gold this turn, increases each turn, and then in parentheses, once per game. What the hell does any of this mean? It means that gain 1 gold this turn increases each turn. So on turn 2, it'll read gain 2 gold this turn. And on turn 3, 3 gold, turn 4, 4 gold, so on, so forth. You can cash that in whenever you feel like for 0 gold. So you can boost your gold for however many turns you've currently been in the game. And if it's been over 10 turns, congratulations, you have 10 gold you can boost to if you really want to. That you can do. And then once you use it, that's it. That's over. That's all this hero power has for you. I really like Crag. I've played, I want to say, 3 games with Crag since the patch. And this is definitely like a weight on it. Hero power. This is yes, you can certainly do silly things early game and accelerate your gameplay and get more heroes or more minions on board than you should have. Don't do that if you're trying to win.
Well, yeah. So the one thing that I like about Sky Captain Crag is that he is so flexible because you are in control. So if you are in a lobby with a whole bunch of super aggressive people, you can, grab a couple of extra minions on those first few early turns. Like that's something you can do in order to, not lose too much health early on. You can also use him, kind of mid game and get yourself like a free Tavern tier, which is something I've done when I'm sitting there with like 7 or 8 gold. It's like I spend all the gold on a turn, like buying minions on a turn when normally I would just be taverning up. Hit the hero power, buy the Tavern, and then you've done both. You've bought a Tavern and you've also bought a whole bunch of minions. The one thing that you do have to do, or you can save it for late game and then basically get 20 gold in a turn. That is also a thing. But I think that one thing that we do have to mention just with the way that this works is make sure you have the room in your like gold counter for however much gold, because this doesn't work like it doesn't give you 20 gold if you hit it right away, right? There's still the cap of 10 gold. So be very careful that you're not going to like go over that cap and waste some of it. So spend it all out, hit the button, spend it all again.
Absolutely. The same concerns you have about selling a minion before you buy a minion when you're at 10, when you're past turn 10 and you have 10 gold. Whatever anxieties you have around that, multiply them by tenfold for Skycap and Crag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like he's Elvix in the chat room saying cheating a late Tavern tier is a bit powerful. It's super powerful. That's the way I found that it's been the most relevant for me to use him, because I've had him 3 or 4 times now, I think. And using him to just like buy Tavern tier 5 when I'm not supposed to have it, or when I'm supposed to have like the cost or the downside of like not being able to buy minions that turn, being able to do both is crazy.
Absolutely. So, the way that this patch kind of looks us in the eyes and goes, oh, you think you understand Battlegrounds economy? Well, watch this shit. Like, it's bananas. Like, and we haven't even gotten to minions yet. But yes, that's the best Crag games I have had have been the exact same thing. Basically, the best game I've had at Crag is where I basically went tier 4 to tier 5 in like the same turn. Yeah. It's nutty for sure. Mm-hmm. So I like Crag. Apparently Crag is in the last 24 hours, according to HS Replay, the lowest of the 3 new heroes, 3 actual new heroes, even though, yes, I agree with you that Patches is basically a new hero. But yeah, Crag, I still really like Crag. I think it's really cool freaking hero design. I like this hero a lot, and I'm looking forward to locking more games with them. But let's talk about the hero that has taken Battlegrounds by storm. Captain Hooktusk. Hero power, trash for treasure, costs 0 gold. Again, not passive. This isn't active hero power. It just costs you nothing to activate. And what it does is it removes a friendly minion, and you get to discover one from a lower Tavern tier.
Now, that's in relation to the minion that you remove, correct?
That is so, my like, understanding, if you yes. And I
discover like up to a 5 and then remove it, you get to discover a 4. Sort of thing. Like if you golden discover up to 5 and you're at 4, and then you use your hero power on that 5 minion, you get to discover from a 4.
That is my understanding, yes.
And a 3. Okay, so it's not yours, it's the Minion's Tavern tier. Okay, because I have not had... Hooktusk has been in every single lobby, and I have not had a chance to play her yet. But everyone else that I'm playing against has gotten a chance to play Hooktusk.
So, Jocelyn, would you like to know the hero I got to play the most in the last 24 hours?
Hooktusk.
3 games, and it literally was 3rd place, 2nd place, 1st place in that order.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. As you learn the hero, you start to get better with her. So explain to me, because you said that this was broken. So explain to me why this is broken.
You just have a lot more chances to get a guaranteed golden. Like you have a lot. Okay. This really helps you complete. Because Jocelyn, let me paint a picture for you, or here, tell me how many times you have been stuck in the picture I'm about to paint for you. You've got 1 minion on board, and you have a copy of that minion in hand, and you are just hoping to find a 3rd to turn that minion into gold. And suddenly, this is like a tier 3 minion. You're on tier 5, but that tier 3 minion is really important to your composition. If only I could find a 3rd and turn it golden and win this damn game. Captain Hooktusk. Also, the new the 3/1 Death Rattle Lizard, the Sorlisk.
Yes.
Sorlisk comp is lit. And Captain Hooktusk can make that shit work better than any hero I know of. I played a game where I found an early Sorlisk with Hooktusk, and I was intentionally using my hero power on basically nothing but Tavern tier 2 or 1 minions, because I was just trying to, A, golden my Sorlisk, B, golden my Sorlisk to get a second non-golden Sorlisk out so I could have 2 Sorlisks growing in tandem, and C, just keep finding, there's a lot of Death Rattle tier 1 minions. And so I was just like cycling them and just moving through. So I don't know if this is guaranteed. This is entirely anecdotal experiences from me. But I also went and looked at Hooktusk and saw what compositions were working really well for this hero on Hearthstone Battlegrounds. And they have literally added Sorlisk as a new comp and is the #1 most winning comp for this hero.
Mm-hmm. I like that they added it as a comp, because it's like, I guess you could also kind of call it Death Rattle comps, but it starts so early game with that one minion that I think it makes sense that it is the Sorreless comp. But yeah, I've seen there's been a lot of like the Death Rattle comps are crazy, the Juggler comps are crazy. And yeah, especially I think with the ability to replace a tier 1 minion with a tier 1 minion, because obviously there's no tier 0 minion, so you can't go any lower than 1. And that ability to do that, I think, is very, very strong on her, which gives her a really good early game, but then also really good like mid games. And like you say, you're searching for triples. And man, like I've had so many games in the last 24 hours where, I mean, okay, I was trying to triple on a hangry dragon and I couldn't find a triple. Who else grabs those minions?
I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say that maybe some people have taken a break from Battlegrounds or have never played before, and suddenly they're interested because of this new patch. Because, yeah, you want to talk about minions that shouldn't be contested. Yeah, congratulations.
Right? That should have been an eeasy triple. It was not.
We've all been. I've had a lot of games, and since the patch where whatever it was, whatever strategy I was going for, I was checking the sidebar, like say I was going beasts, and I'm like, man, where are my beasts? And I'm checking, it's like no one else is playing beasts. It's like, where are these? Sometimes it just happens. Like at the end of the day, there is so much RNG in Battlegrounds, which is, I think, one of the main reasons that it doesn't bother me that things like Juggler and the new Cannon minion that we're going to talk about don't get my goat the same way that things like Knife Juggler and Crackle and anything with Yogg in its name do in Constructed. Because there's just so much of it in this game mode, it's basically built around it that I kind of just give myself over to madness. And I'm totally on board. But yeah, actually right now the top 3 win rate compositions for Hook Tusk on HS Replay is the Sorreless comp, which utilizes things like obviously the Sorreless, but also the Selfless Hero, another tier 1 minion. The Big Demons comp, which we haven't talked about Big Demons in probably 2 months, but that's another comp that can totally go off with mostly tier 1 minions. And Murlocs, which if you just want to be getting weird and finding tokens and whatnot, the token Murloc is a tier 1 as well. So there's a lot of things there, but also I could see, getting rid of a tier 3 to find more tier 2s to try and, triple your Murkai, or getting rid of a 4 to try and find more Seers to buff your health. I had a really fun Murloc game on Hook Tusk. So it's just, this is a wildly good hero. The top win rate by a landslide victory on HS Replay, at least in the last 24 hours. Definitely grab Hook Tusk if Hook Tusk is offered to you. Take her for a spin. This hero power is amazing.
It sounds like it. I wish I'd had a chance to try her. I tried really hard, you guys. I played a lot of Battlegrounds and I never got her. I'm so sorry. Also, Taprelli in the chat room, who works at HS Replay, is saying they are adding 2 new comps. Pirates and Macaw Beasts are going to be tracked on HS Replay. Soon, very, very soon, like today. So we'll get a little bit more.
Haven't made a Macaw Beast comp go off yet, but there's been so many times where I'm like, oh, if I could just find a Macaw, this would be amazing. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out what the proper comp for that is. We have so many things to talk about when we get the minions. But before we do that, let's talk about returning and updated heroes, which let's start with Patches. We've been talking around Patches the entire game. Patches is now returning. Patches has a new hero power called Pirate Party. It's going to cost you 4 gold. And if you're like me and have a sensitive throat, also your vocal cords when you try and pronounce it correctly. It reads, get a pirate. After you buy a pirate, your next hero power costs 1 less. So basically how this works is you buy a pirate, it goes down to 3 gold. You buy another pirate, it goes down to 2 gold. You buy another pirate, it goes down to 1 gold. You get the idea. You can actually make this cost nothing if you buy 4 pirates, but then once you use it, it resets to that cost of 4 gold, and the process starts over again as you buy pirates.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is one hero that kind of does not necessarily force you down a comp specific road, because I think that there's a couple of pirates in the game that you want to buy regardless. So especially the pirate we're going to talk about in a little bit, but that helps you decrease the cost of taverning up. So you're not necessarily forced down a pirate road, but I think the synergy is definitely better if you do go for pirates. But I mean, basically, like, you're not going to want to use this on 4, but then after that, any cost reduction, like, I think trying to get it down to 0 is not the right way to play patches. I think that, you know, because at 3, basically, you're going to push that button. You know what minion type you're going to get. You're going to get a pirate. And that's basically the same as buying out of a tavern, same cost as buying out of a tavern. And then, you know, for 2, then you're spending 2 and you're getting a minion 1. Like, the value only gets better. And at 1 gold, you can just buy it and sell it. And, you know, like, nothing, if it's bad, it doesn't even matter. And this also adheres to your tavern tier rules. So, like, if you're at 3, the pirate that you get won't be any higher than tier 3. So,
if you're me, it will definitely be lower than tier 3. I got a patches game just before I shut everything down to prepare for the show. Had a terrible time. But win rate rise is actually doing pretty well, coming in just under release Starseeker, the queen of consistency.
I've had 2 patches games, I think, and I came second both times. And going for a pirate comp. And I think that I think he's good. He's definitely, maybe I'm just thinking he's better because he was so terrible before. So, like, in contrast, like, this is a much better, much more interesting hero power.
When you think about it again, coming back around to the, like, guaranteed value, when you put it under that light, it checks out. Like, if you just consistently buy on 2 just for the hell of efficient purchase, then there's something to be gained here by playing patches.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes you get really lucky and you'll get like I said, the pirate that reduces your tavern tier, or the pirate that sells for 3 gold. Like, there's some pirates that are good just to kind of play and get rid of again. So again, he doesn't necessarily force you down that pirate road, but I think it's better if you choose to play a pirate comp. But there's still some useful pirates, even if you don't end up finding a lot of pirate minions, because everybody's trying out pirates right now, you guys, everybody.
Absolutely. So if nothing else, if you just want a better chance at, like, seeing what pirates are like, patches is a great way to go about that, because you won't have to fight as much. I'm just drafting like a normal human being, and I'm doing great. I don't think I've gone below 4, except for one game where I was like, "Hey, I'm on a win streak. Let's do Flurgle." And guess what place I got, Joss? Because there's only 2 options.
8th.
Yeah. Yep. But Rat King is getting updated, and you might think, "Oh yeah, they need to add pirates," and you're right, but they also made it so that Rat King no longer always starts on King of Beasts. They kind of need to, because there's a chance that you wouldn't get beasts in the draft pool, but now it's just randomized.
I never even thought of that. I was like, oh, that's a nice change. I wonder why they didn't do it before. It's like, oh no, they literally had to do that for him. They had to change him. They had to, yes. I was like, oh, I never thought of that.
Yep. Now it starts with a random minion type and will not include minion types that are not in the pool. Great update. Queen Wag Toggle, you can probably assume how Wag Toggle was updated. Her hero power now includes pirates.
Yay.
Huzzah. So there we go. And then finally, and this I think is the sleeper of the week, not Professor Putricide, by the way. Professor Putricide is removed from the hero pool, and I would assume just like gently placed in the trash and just been like, shh, just put it away. Alongside Bran, but for being the opposite of good. But Holy Mackerel has been removed from the minion pool.
Yeah, this made me a little bit sad. I know,
Same.
like, Holy Mackerel was super powerful because you could basically just buy 1 or 2, and then you had the Divine Shield comp that actually worked really well with mackerel, and then you could poison them, but you could basically put a poisonous mackerel in any comp and it wouldn't disrupt the comp too much, but it gave you a Divine Shield poisonous Murloc, which was frustrating a lot of the times. And, you know, you could do things like have the menagerie minions, they always have a Murloc to buff, so it would just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And you know, like it was problematic. I get it, but I don't know. I feel like what I was getting frustrated with was seeing poisonous Divine Shield Murlocs all the time. And just with the change, and this is why I say having the change to minions that are available in Battlegrounds is probably like the biggest thing that they've done since they launched Battlegrounds, is because I'm not going to be seeing poisonous Divine Shield Murlocs every single game anymore, because sometimes Murlocs just aren't going to be in the game. And so if that means that, like, not only am I not going to see those big comps, but then sometimes Mackerel just would be removed from the game because he's a Murloc. So I don't know. I kind of wish that they'd kept him around just to see how he worked for, you know, a little while with the rotating minion pools. Because, I mean, if he's not there, you know, 1/6 of the time, then, you know, he's not as problematic. But,
I am somewhat with you, but this is the strongest critique I have of this patch. I think the problem is poisonous Murlocs, and Mackerel like compounds that issue definitely, because you don't even need to be going Murlocs. If you find 2 of these, you get them both poisonous. You're cheating basically at this game. But poisonous Murlocs with Divine Shield are still very much possible and damn near impossible to beat. Like, it's one of the winningest comps when you actually pull it off. Yes, there's always the chance that you just don't get there and you die horribly, aka your name is Flurgle. But I really like Mackerel, and I think a world without poisonous Murlocs with Mackerel in it is super interesting. I want to see what that minion looks like without freaking poisonous fishmen. Like,
which is really interesting, because I mean, my most annoying moment today when I was playing Battlegrounds was I was in 2nd place and I was going up against someone with, I can't remember if it was like it was the new golden kobold dude that gets bigger the more triples you have on board. So they had a golden version of him and like a full golden board, and he was just, I think, like 170 something attack and 200 something health or something ridiculous. And I was like, there's nothing, because it was a game with no game with no beasts. So I was like, well, I could just get my Exna. And then I was like, no, wait, she's not here. And so it's like, without the ability to, I would have had to like give up 2 of my spots on my board and hope that I got a Murloc that I could then give poisonous with Toxfin. And it was like everybody else was out of the game already. So I was just like, there's no way. I have 1 turn to do this. And I was on tier 6. Like, my Exna would have been the perfect option. But yeah, like, I had no real way to win. So I don't know, man. I don't mind poison being in the game. I would almost rather have like Megasaur removed, because I feel like Megasaur is the thing where you can just go, okay, my whole board is poisonous now. When you have to find a Toxfin every single time you want to, like, you've had to buy that Toxfin 4 or 5 times. And I feel like that's okay, but yeah.
Yeah, because even if you have a brand, that doesn't help you with Toxfin because it's single target.
Exactly, because Toxfin, yeah.
You know, maybe the Divine Shield is the only problem. But again, if we're also having this conversation in the shadow of Mackerel and wanting to keep Mackerel in the game, then yeah, it gets a little more complicated, because then Mackerel is your out for Divine Shield Murlocs. But whatever the case is, Mackerel is currently gone. So yeah, maybe we look at Megasaur.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the idea of Murlocs having a powerful late game without necessarily it being Megasaur, because Megasaur, I think, feels worse than Holy Mackerel did. But again, Megasaur is very, very, very specific to a Murloc comp, whereas Mackerel was kind of making its way. It's very much like if you're thinking about like Constructed, then like it's the Ziliax problem, right? Like, he's in literally every deck, no matter what you're doing. So yeah, I understand why they took him out, and there were definitely like some feels bad moments that happened around Mackerel and Mackerel comps. So I understand why they did it, but I'm gonna miss the little guy.
I am too. I'm a really big fan of the Divine Shield comp. It's this weird thing that I just like in Battlegrounds. Maybe it's a little bit of my inner Paladin coming out, but I've also spent so much of my Hearthstone life playing aggro Paladin that Divine Shields weren't the biggest portion of it. But yeah, it's a comp I really like, and I'm gonna miss Mackerel. So, anyways, before we move on to Minions, we do have a sponsor to thank today, and it's Honey. They're back sponsoring this episode of The Angry Chicken. You should go get Honey for free over at joinhoney.com/TAC because, we all shop online. Jocelyn, you or I, maybe a little more than most. Jocelyn and I share our I bought another thing online guilt with each other frequently. But we get to feel...
He says guilt, but it's totally pride. It's, dude, guess what I got?
Guess what I got? Guess what I got? Yeah, it's great. And I feel even less guilty when I use Honey because it automatically finds me coupon codes. I don't need to go out. Manually searching for coupon codes it's for suckers, Jocelyn. And I was going to say I am not a sucker. I may be a sucker in certain regards, but I'm not a sucker.
You're not going to search for your coupons.
No, I don't need to go to a search engine and be like, "Hey, Jeeves, find me the best coupon codes."
Oh man, that's a throwback and a half. Jeez. There's probably the majority of people listening to this podcast who are not going to know what you're talking about.
That's all right. Gather around, kiddies. Let me tell you about the old days of the interwebs.
Okay, boomer.
You should go check it out. Honey is the free browser extension that finds promo codes for you and automatically applies them to your cart. It's like an auto battler for saving money. It does it for you. And you're just like, oh, yeah, sure. I'll take it. I'll take it. You no longer need to be taunted by the freaking promo code field when you go to check out at your favorite retailers. I'm a big fan. Honey has saved me a ton of money. Jocelyn, I just got a new little Rode shotgun mic that goes on my my nice camera.
Ooh,
yeah. Found me like $15 off on that. It was nice. I was like, hell yeah. I mean, I was gonna buy it anyway, but I'm not gonna tell the internet that. Honey's like, yeah, here you go. Honey's like, I know you were gonna buy it anyway, but why not save a few bucks? Here's basically the cost of the next Tavern pass you're gonna purchase. That's what. I love it. I love it. I get to spend just a little extra money in Hearthstone because of the money that I save with Honey. So go check them out. Honey has found over 17 million members, over $2 billion in savings, and supports over 30,000 stores, including things like Walmart, DoorDash, and Newegg. Yeah. I was about to make a reference about Newegg. You know you want your computer to perform really well when you're playing Hearthstone, the most demanding graphical video game on the market. But seriously, go check them out. If you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out on free money. It is literally free and installs in just a few seconds. And by getting it, you're doing yourself a solid and supporting the Angry Chicken in the process. So go get Honey for free over at joinhoney.com/TAC. Again, that's joinhoney.com/TAC. And now let's get right back into our Battlegrounds discussion today and talk about most of the minions that were added. As my overlay hangs and just refuses to go to the images. I need to check that later. What's going on there? It's very mad. Okay, it's there now. Cool. So 17 new minions were added. We're not going to talk about each and every one of them because some of them are basic.
Oh,
Sorry. But I do want to just start things right off with one of the pirates you were very much alluding to when you were talking about the virtues of patches, even if you aren't going for a pirate comp, which is Deck Squabble. It's a tier 1 minion. It's a 2/2. It's got a battle cry that reduces the cost of upgrading Bob's Tavern by 1 and has the pirate tribe like stamped on.
Yes.
So upside of Pirate's Energy, major upside of throwing a monkey wrench in everyone's understanding of the economy of Battlegrounds because it's reducing Bob's Tavern upgrade cost by freaking 1. I am one of those people, Jocelyn, and tell me if you were one of these people. I look for any, and I do mean any excuse to not Tavern up to 2 on turn 2. I love it. I don't care if I've gone 7 games deep and I haven't seen Rafam once. I know if you're Rafam, you always just skip 2. Why the hell would you even consider it? Pyramid also, another big one. But those minions, I love them. They make me feel so powerful and awesome. And part of that is just I get to get another minion. I know I'm going to win this unless I'm going against Yogg and they get super lucky on the minions they hit. But whatever the case is, I love not taverning up on 2. And now because of Deck Squabble, or Swabby. I can a deck squabble is when I disagree with you on a boat. That's what we're going to have. We're going to have a deck squabble. There's a lot of chances that you just don't need to worry about it, right? Because this just kind of makes up for that. And then if you're finding it randomly later on in the game, or it's having to work with your draft strategy, it can really just start to put you in surprise convenience. You're just like, oh, I can Tavern up a tier early, or I can buy extra minions and Tavern up a tier late, but not fall behind. I dig it. This is a really cool minion.
I like him a lot too. And it's kind of interesting, but I feel like he's definitely much better early game than late game, but still valid kind of at any time. And it's so interesting because it's kind of almost plays a lot like the free dealing gambler, which is the minion that sells for 3 gold. It's kind of like you spend some gold when you maybe don't necessarily have anything else to buy, but then you're going to get an economic advantage on the next turn or at some point in the future. So basically it's like you can buy the gambler and she just sits there and holds 3 gold for you, or you can buy the swabby and then you could, tavern up, like you said, like a turn earlier or something. Like they have these little, and you've just got a body on board. So they're kind of just good if you've got nothing else to do. And obviously they're pirates. So if you're doing pirate comp things, then they're really good for if you've got some of the other buff cards that are like, once you play a pirate, do this thing, you can like buy these things, play them out, get the pirate buff, sell them back, and rinse and repeat. Like they're really, really interesting because, like you say, they mess with the economy so much.
Yeah. And also, like, I get very excited about anything that incentivizes me to cycle. Cycle strategies are another thing I find fascinating, fun, and rewarding to play in Battlegrounds. So that's what Swabby is. That's what the Gambler is. You're absolutely right. So this is a really cool card. Scallywag. I was going to skip it, and then I thought about it. I'm like, this card is dope. Now that I think about it, because we're about to talk about Arcane Cannon. You cannot talk about Arcane Cannon without talking about Scallywag. So Scallywag is another tier 1 pirate. 2 attack, 1 health with a death rattle that reads, summon a 1/1 pirate. It attacks immediately. And this is, it's exactly what it says, which means like Scallywag attacks, dies, you get another attack out of that 1/1 immediately. Or maybe it's not a 1/1 because maybe you have pirate buffs. Maybe you're Deathwing. Whatever that case is. But this is, building on, honestly, that Illidan kind of
mechanic. That's true. It's the Illidan mechanic, except for you can put it anywhere on your board.
Right. So, like, it doesn't necessarily always have to happen first. And if you're even, it may not happen first because your opponent may win the coin flip. But Scallywag, really interesting addition to Battlegrounds in general. Even outside of pirate compositions, I have been using Scallywag to great effect. Like this is a new like snap pick turn 1 on Deathwing, or if you found a Deathwing hero power. Looking at you, Finley, you damn doppelganger. South Captain, I think it's easy enough to move past. It's a very basic buff minion. It's exactly the same card that exists in Constructed. Yeah. That was one I didn't really want to spend a lot of time talking about. I'd rather talk about Arcane Cannon because we just talked about, already forgetting the name, Scallywag. So Arcane Cannon, this card, if you are a fan of streams, memes, Twitter, or YouTube, you've heard about this card. It is a 2/2.
It's not even like memes, dude. It's so good.
It is exceptional. So this is a Tavern 2 minion, Arcane Cannon, 2/2. No minion type. So yeah, I know it's cannon and there's a pirate firing it in the art, but it is not in itself a pirate. And this card reads, can't attack.
Sorry, I was going to say, I wish they would give it the pirate tag just because when pirates are rotating alongside all the other minion types, I would like this to not be in every single one of my games, because every single one of my games has had at least 1, if not 2 or 3 people with cannons. And I'm just like, oh, the juggles. They're so salt-inducing.
It's juggle time, Joss. It is juggle time. But yeah, the Arcane Cannon can attack after an adjacent minion attacks, deal 2 damage to an enemy minion. And this counts with things like Scallywag. So Scallywag attacks. It's next to Arcane Cannon. 2 damage fires off. Scallywag dies, the 1/1 spawns, immediately attacks. That counts as an attack for the Arcane Cannon, so it does 1 damage or more if it's getting buffed somewhere, and then Arcane Cannon does another volley. And so basically, the strategy is to put the second from the left. So your first attacking minion triggers the cannon, and then now we've started... There's like a new strategy of like lower health to the left so it dies, and then the next minion gets in line next to the cannon because it's based on if the minion attacking is adjacent to the cannon. And like, oh my God, Death Rattle comps just got so much more interesting. Like I get stoked. I have never been more stoked to draft a Harvest Golem in the entire existence of Battlegrounds because of Arcane Cannon.
And one thing I do want to point out, because I made this mistake, is it does not work with Imp Gang Boss. So the like order of operations is if you have your Imp Gang Boss and then your cannon, so your Imp Gang Boss is attacking, when it attacks into something, it takes damage. That's part of, I guess, the Imp Gang Boss. So the 1/1 spawns. Then the cannon checks to see if the adjacent minion has attacked, like once the gang boss has finished its
if it's
turn.
On the left.
And then, yeah, okay. Well, and then on the left, yeah, because I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so good because, like my gang boss will attack and then it'll make a 1/1 and then the 1/1 will attack and I'll get cannon shots and I'll get juggles and this is going to be great because the cannon and the
gang boss?
The normal, the normal juggler guy.
Oh, Soul Juggler.
3/3. Soul Juggler, thank you. I did a comp that was both of those, just, for funsies, for me, obviously not my opponents. And so, yeah, I was trying the gang boss alongside the cannon, and yeah, it doesn't work because then it says, it'll spawn the 1/1 and then it checks to see if the adjacent minion attacked. And then it's like, oh, nope, totally didn't. That 1/1 sitting here did not attack and moves on. So yeah, Imp Gang Boss does not work with Arcane Cannon on the left.
All gang bosses Science. To the right. To the
yes.
right. To the right.
Well, but even then, like you're spawning 1/1s that aren't next to the cannon themselves, right? So,
well, yeah, but I mean, how late in the game?
Like it doesn't really work as well as you think it might.
I mean,
it's much better with like Death Rattle minions that like replace themselves in the same spot. So, the pirate we just talked about, or, Harvest Golems and Joey bots and all that kind of stuff.
Well, really, at the end of the day, you're going to have a bad time if it doesn't die, right? Like if you put the Imp Gang Boss to the right and it dies, then you're good. You're still going to get 1 imp off of it unless you have a full board.
Well, yeah, you get the 1 imp off it, but you don't get the cannon shot. That's what I'm saying. You don't get the cannon.
If it's to the right, you will.
Oh, to the right. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm just smoothing this out. Like, maybe if you get a gang boss on the turn you Tavern up to 3, it won't die. But basically, turn 4 or not turn 3, but tier 3. After that, it's a very high likelihood that gang boss is going to die. But one more reason that gang boss might just not be the best minion, even if you are going for the juggler.
I love
comps.
gang boss though.
I love the imprisoners. Those are great because it has always worked.
Imprisoner's another good one. Yeah,
it has always worked very well with Soul Juggler for obvious reasons. It's even better with Arcane Cannon plus Soul Juggler. It's disgusting.
Yeah,
very very good. By the way, the cleave meta, it has returned. Because if someone's doing the Arcane Cannon plus the Soul Juggler, there's a really good chance they're like flanking their Arcane Cannon with at least 1 Imp Prisoner. You know what that has? Has Taunt.
Well, and that's kind of the thing. Yeah, so you do have to kind of be careful of things because people are absolutely picking the Hydras again if beasts are in, and if not, then you've got a little bit longer, but still expect the
Foe Reaper.
Foe Reaper, thank you. I'm like the mech dude.
I'm on fire for remembering the name of things today.
I do not know what's wrong with my brain. It's exactly, we're totally reversed roles right now. It's driving me nuts.
It's all right. I couldn't pronounce Dex Swabby looking at it. So, it's all right. Anyways, Arcane Cannon, there's a lot of hype around it for a reason. This card does absolute work. If you get a golden one, all I want you to understand is that I hate you deeply to your core. So, yeah. Monstrous Macaw. Oh, this card is Rad. It's a 2 Tavern tier minion. Monstrous Macaw, 3 attack, 2 health, Beast Tribe. After this attacks, trigger a random friendly minions, Death Rattle. Well, this is only random if you have more than 1 Death Rattle, Jocelyn.
Right.
And you know what? Sometimes I've got into Spawn in the Zoth, and I've got the lady I can never remember the name of that gives a Divine Shield. I don't really care which one of those this hits.
I was going to say Righteous Protector, but that's wrong. That's the one with Zoth.
It already has Divine Shield. It doesn't give Divine Shield.
My brain's just not working today, Garrett. I don't know.
I tried to give you one. I tried. Actually, I legitimately cannot remember the name, and I even looked it up.
Probably Argent something.
Probably.
But yeah, the 2/1 with Death Rattle that gives the Divine Shield. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. This card is wild. And to me, I'm just like, oh, it's got the beast tag. This has got to work in some like sick beast comp. But usually when I'm doing a beast comp, I've got a mama bear, and I've got things that spawn other minions. And so the macaw, which I would normally want to attack early, like is kind of useless because it usually attacks with like a clogged board. So I'm not getting a lot of. I wanted to hit my Goldrin is what I wanted to hit.
Yes,
but if I'm rocking a Goldrin, I'm probably rocking other minions that have Death Rattles that spawn tokens, and those tokens are not particularly helpful with a Macaw. So this is the nut I haven't cracked yet, but there is so much potential here. I can taste it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is gross because you shouldn't
hero.
be parrots.
Thank you so much, chat room. Selfless hero,
like
not Argent anything.
I'd like to point out it even took our chat room a while to pick up on that. Anyways, really freaking cool minion here. Death Rattle builds, they're nutty post this patch. I really like it.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're getting some love. I mean, Death Rattles have always been my favorite comp in Battlegrounds. I mean, you guys know I was super sad when Sky Golem got pushed to the door. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you'll always have Sneeds.
Yeah, it's not the same, Garrett. It's not the same.
It almost is. It got moved down to tier 5. It's not quite tier 4, but it's close. And you know what else?
But it was the difference between them was legendary minions versus like 4-cost minions. And those 4 costs were always good. Legendaries are sometimes shifter.
You say you like the Death Rattle comp, but juggling tilt shoe and you don't like the random outcome of Sneeds. Like all Death Rattle is going, haha, I won. And your opponent going, but you didn't know you were going to. There was no guarantee.
Yep.
No. Anyways, we already talked about Free Dealing Gambler. That is at Tavern Tier 2, the 3/3 pirate that sells for 3 gold when you sell her back. Love this card. Such a cool way to go, I'm getting terrible luck. F it. I'm going to buy this and just bank 3 gold for next turn. Big fan. Well,
yeah, because you can basically just like trade her in for another minion. So if on the other turn you would only have enough to say Tavern up and refresh, now you can Tavern up, refresh, and buy, which is crazy. So I really like, and you've had like a minion on board for the combat round before that. So I think it's really cool, and I like the way it messes with like the economy and who has what when sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. There wasn't enough upsides to buying things and banking things for following turns just because you didn't have better things to do with your gold. This one's on the edge. Like I think it's very edge case scenario where that's the thing you should be doing rather than rolling, trying to find a triple, guarantee synergies with whatever your strategy is. But it still is there. And I really like that.
I find she's saved me from some really terrible rolls and some really bad situations. Yeah. Be like, okay, I can't buy anything right now. This is all terrible. I'm just going to take this and buy something next turn. Yep. And yeah, it's really, really helped with a boost of gold at a time you're not supposed to get a boost of gold like that. The one thing I will say, so try not to triple this if you can help it, because the triple sells for 6, but you've spent 9, so it's not as good, right? So yeah. Try not to triple this.
It's not the end of the world if you're a Patches and you got this. Exactly, you got it for a discount and you were holding on to 2 for whatever reason, and one was on board, one was in hand. If you have 2 of these on board, you're probably not winning. But whatever the case is. I mean,
so I was playing Patches, and I had a golden one on board, and I had 2 other ones on board because I also had the dudes that were like buffing or getting bigger as I played pirates. So I just kept buying the pirates, which happened to be the gamblers. And then one turn, I had a turn of like, oh my gosh, how much? It would have been like 22 gold or something.
Lord.
Yeah, like because I was just hanging on to these things, and then I was like, all right, well, you know, I'm going to tavern up, and I'm going to refresh, and I'm going to sell, and I'm going to buy, and I'm going to sell, and I'm going to buy, and it's great.
We're already an hour deep, so I don't want to like deconstruct what you. I'm pretty sure what you just described was not a strategy I would recommend to anyone. But
well, I had my one really big dude. And I don't even know
it's going to be the
I don't
salty
think we've
looter.
even highlighted. Yeah, the salty looter. Looter. So I had a golden salty looter, and then he was just sitting there getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And every time I bought a gambler, it was great.
Salty looter is what I do when I go to the grocery store the day after the hurricane and all of the cheese nips are gone. That's what I am.
The free dealing gambler is also a really good idea for not only like storing gold, but gaining gold if you're Millhouse, because you buy her for 2 and sell her for 3. So
just gnarly stuff.
Yeah.
Yohoger, I don't really have much to talk about this 2/8 with taunt that attacks after it survives being attacked. Its goal, I think this is a bit of a trap minion. I don't think this minion is very good.
I think it depends when you get him. Like if you're in your first couple of rolls of tier 3, then he's got a big booty. He's probably going to take out a couple of things from your opponent. So yeah,
pirates
I think
like
he's decent. Yeah, pirates do like booty. And you can put him next to a cannon. And even if your opponent attacks first,
I think that's a trap.
They're going to hit him with a taunt.
I think it's a trap. I think it's a trap because he doesn't die. He doesn't die, especially early game with the cannon where you're like super excited. It's like if they hit into it and then it attacks and it survives and then your minion to the right
but then
goes.
It attacks. Well,
yeah,
no, but
you get one juggle, but if it doesn't die from that attack,
you get 2 juggles. If it's early, like if you're buying it in your first like round or 2 of tier 3, at least in my experience, you get the 2 attacks because you get the attack from the minion hitting into it, and then
problem.
Exactly. It's almost like it has Wind Fury. Yeah.
But you put it to the left. But I'm drafting well and getting the Zoth, and I want that to the right or to the left. I don't want Yohoger, as much as I love this punny ass name. But yeah, Salty Looter.
I think you're just playing pirates wrong, Garrett. I think that's what's happening.
I mean,
I've had really good luck with pirates.
I'm winning. So I don't know.
I feel like we need to just go in and duo Battlegrounds, and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to draft pirates. You draft whatever you want, and we'll see who comes out on top.
You could have hit me harder there. You could have said, okay, I'm going to have fun, and you can be a curmudgeon.
That too.
I'm loving it right now, because just like dragons, everyone's forcing pirates, and so I just get to draft good things, and no one's contesting me. The issue with dragons is that dragons were like had a serious top end, and I think pirates do too. When we get to Dread Admiral Eliza, there's a top end on pirates, but I think the journey for dragons is stronger than the journey for pirates.
Yeah,
it's kind of my 24-hour review of pirates. Salty Looter, you've already really talked about this. It's a 3/3 pirate at Tavern Tier 3.
It's pretty straightforward.
Gains 1/1 whenever you play a pirate. Double this effect for the golden. I wouldn't discount this. I originally did. The more I play pirates, the more I realized they really like to cycle. So go nuts with Salty Looter. I think there is something here. I think Salty Looter is the key. I think Salty Looter and finding cycle pirate minions is kind of the bridge to late game for pirates.
Yes. Yeah.
Again, 24-hour review here. Bloodsail Cannoneer, again, very basic tier 3 minion, 4/2 pirate, battlecry, give your other pirates +3 attack. I don't have a lot to say there either. Salcy Strongarm, tier 4 pirate, 5/4, battlecry, give a friendly pirate +1/+1 for each pirate you bought this turn. I think this card is absolute booty. I think this is one of the worst cards being added.
Oh, I was like, but Garrett, booty's good.
No, booty means bad. It's butt. This card is butt.
We have different opinions on butts.
We don't. That's just booty is saying something is booty is a phrase.
Okay.
Thanks for outing me. Which is a shame because I think this is the best art in this this new set.
Oh yeah, she's totally that like Rosie the Riveter pose. I love it. She's so cool.
Rosie the Riveter, if she was a UFC fighter that could tear the skin off of your face.
But yeah, she I've had decent luck with her, but I kind of I think she could be a Tavern 3 minion.
I agree. There'd be some potential insanity with things like Millhouse, like you mentioned, especially if you get a really lucky and you're cycling a lot of gamblers. But it feels so edge case to me.
She seems very she just seems too high, not high costed, because obviously all the cost of the minions are the same, but like she happens a little bit too late. I think pirates would be a lot better off if she was a tier 3. But I've still had luck with her again, because when you get a proper like cycle comp going on, you could be buying a few different things that you want to play and sell, and then you get her, and all of a sudden you're buffing by 3/3, which is half decent, because it's a good way to get yourself bigger pirates than you're supposed to have, because she buffs health too, which for the other options for pirates before you get into kind of tier 5 and 6 is more along the lines of like give them attack only, and they don't have a lot of health necessarily. So they can die pretty easy. So yeah, I think having the ability to buff the health too is good.
Yes. And let's face it, every tribe in the game have some pretty kind of middling minions along the way. It's part of the balance of the mode. But yeah, Salcy Strong Arm probably my least favorite at the moment from this update. Gold Grubber. This one's interesting because Gold Grubber is a pirate. It's a 2/2 pirate at the tier 4 level. But it doesn't really give a crap about pirates. At the end of your turn, gain +2/+2 for each friendly golden minion. This is just cool to see buffs based on goldens in the game as a mechanic. I've seen some.
And this thing gets out of control.
Yeah. By the way, this with Hook Tusk, because everyone else has moved on from Tavern tier 1s or whatever, and you're just mining like low tier goldens on Hook Tusk. Like things can get weird with Gold Grubber.
He's got a mustache that says things could get weird.
Yeah, Gold Grubber, creepy. Listen, kobolds, man. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, kobolds. Good call. But yeah, I think I've seen this thing just grow to disgusting heights.
Yeah. But let's move right along to Ripsnarl Captain, a pirate making some serious waves this week. It's a 3/4. Tier 4, Jocelyn is shaking her head for the audio audience. Tier 4 pirate here, 3 attack, 4 health, Ripsnarl Captain. Whenever another friendly pirate attacks, give it +2/+2. Again, this is so cool. Scallywag. Scallywag attacks, gets +2/+2, dies, spawns the 1/1. The 1/1 attacks immediately, gets +2/+2. You've got it next to a cannon, so you're doing 2 damage shots everywhere. Maybe it's a golden cannon because you're a right bastard. It's doing even more. Ripsnarl Captain is rad. I got a golden one today, and this is the closest I have been to believing in the pirate dream, is with a golden Ripsnarl Captain. This card is nuts.
Yeah, the pirate dream is real the further you get on, I think. Because Ripsnarl is so good.
Yeah, I it's just very good. Damn it, Hearthstone in your drop-down menu. It's just a good card. It's just a good freaking card. Seabreaker Goliath. This is the first Tavern tier 5 pirate with 6 attack, 7 health, Wind Fury, Overkill. Give your other pirates +2/+2. I think a little too weird. I think this card's. I think tier 5 for pirates is a little overrated.
This with a cannon, and especially since it seems like everyone thinks this one is terrible, I've been able to get this with golden, which then makes it have Mega Wind Fury, and next to a cannon, you're just like bam, 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 and all your pirates are getting huge. Like that, the
sleeper golden is a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Well, because then he also, because it doubles the stats, right? So then he's got 14 health. He's probably going to live. He's got 12 attack, and then he's like buffing your whole board if, again, you're going full pirates, minus your cannon. So he's just, yeah. And especially if you've then got him alongside something like a Rip Snarl Captain, then every time he attacks, which Mega Wind Fury is going to be 4 times, he's getting buffed 2+2 every single attack. It's insanity.
Okay, you sold me. You straight up sold me. I'm not even going to fight you on this one.
I really think he's a sleeper. I think he's a sleeper if you can get that cannon.
We're going to look at stats next week. It's going to be like Seabreaker Goliath, tier 1 minion. And you're just going to be like, hey, Garrett. You're like, I yielded. I yielded. I want it noted. I yielded. But here's a card I thought was going to be busted, and I think the range on the randomness is just too much. I don't care how sexy they made Nat Pagle look. Nat Pagle, Extreme Angler, tier 5 pirate, 8 attack, 5 health, overkill, summon a 0/2 treasure chest. You might be asking yourself, what does a treasure chest do? It spawns a random golden minion when it dies on death rattle.
Which then it interacts with things like Baron. It does interact with the Macaw. Like there are synergies to be had with this, but getting an overkill with him at the time in the game when he shows up is very, very difficult, because 8 attack, like you have to have him kind of at the end of a comp that also includes all the other, you know, buff your pirates when they attack type cards. So the Rip Snarl Captain, the Dread Admiral that we're going to talk about in a second, like he needs a lot of help.
Yeah. And then he gives you a treasure chest, and then, that treasure chest might be a golden gas coiler, and that's insane, but also it might be a golden Wrath Weaver or a golden Righteous Protector. And you're just like, what the hell are you doing, Nat Pagle?
Yeah.
But I have to give them... Listen, I don't think Nat Pagle is a particularly good card, but I think it is a particularly awesome design card, because Nat Pagle is sometimes good in Constructed, and Nat Pagle is sometimes good in Battlegrounds. So way to keep it the theme.
All your Pagle fantasies.
Including, if you have sexy Pagle fantasies, here you are. Pagle has never looked better.
That was the joke, Garrett.
I was just rolling with it, Joss. I was just rolling. All right. Captain Hogar, 5-tier pirate, 6 attack, 6 health. After you buy a pirate, gain 1 gold this turn only. Nah, yeah. Thank you.
But I'm sure that there's probably someone out there that's like, no, this breaks the game's economy. And here's this, like, you know, it gives me Dancing Daryl vibes.
Yeah, if you're Daryl or Millhouse, I think this card's cool. If you're anyone else, I don't like this card at all. I think Captain Hogar is... What is it, Joss?
Is it Hogar or is it Hogar?
Oh, damn. You definitely got it right. You 100% got it right. I was thinking of the Yo Hogar from earlier. That's what's still in my brain. I yield the floor. Jocelyn clearly speaks better pirate than I do. I love that you will do this, but Undertaker is a bridge too far for you.
No, it's wrong. All
right,
I will yar all day, Garrett.
Let's talk about Dread Admiral Eliza, the first of a 6-tier new minion coming in with this patch. It's a 6-tier pirate, 6 attack, 7 health. When a friendly pirate attacks, give all friendly minions, not pirate specific, +1/+1. But there's definitely a lot more top end if you've got a lot of pirates.
Exactly, yeah. And this one is really cool with, like, death rattle stuff that summons more stuff, like the Tide Razor. If you can get her alongside a Tide Razor, it's just gross. These, like, all of these late game pirate minions work really well together, and you start with, when you get into combat, not the most impressive looking board, but then all of a sudden, as all of your minions are attacking, they're just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger every time, and you're just like, wow, okay, all of a sudden my minions are all huge, and Murlocs aren't in this match, so no one can get around them because there's no poison.
Yeah, Dread Admiral is definitely a good top end. This is what makes late game pirates possible. And you mentioned the Tide Razor, so let's just talk about that in tandem. It's the other 6-tier minion here. Not a pirate, the Tide Razor, not a pirate, but pirate synergy.
But it's full of pirates.
It is full of... It's a boat that's full of pirates. It's got 6 attack, 4 health, death rattle, summon 3 random pirates. That could be another Dread Admiral Eliza.
Yeah, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's terrible, but it's always awesome.
Sometimes it's both because there's 3 pirates. Some are going to be great, some are going to be, booty. But yeah, these are some really fantastic tier 6 cards.
Mm-hmm.
And Tide Razor, I've taken it in quite a few games now where I've had no interest in pirates whatsoever. It was just up against, not as interesting tier 6 minions. I think it's a good pick. Obviously, Eliza, significantly more pirate focused. But as you mentioned, Joss, maybe you have a Tide Razor.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you can get these in tandem, then you know that there's 3 pirates that are going to synergize with Eliza hidden inside that Tide Razor. So you just grab the Tide Razor, have it attack first, and, hopefully you have enough room on your board at that point. And then you're going to get 3 more board-wide buffs as those minions attack. So yeah, no, they're really cool and they synergize really well together. So I really like pirates. I think they did a good job. And like I said, the minion pool, having 1 random minion type not in the pool is awesome. And I know that they want people to be able to play with pirates, which is why pirates are in every single match. But I think because a lot of people are saying, pirates are OP. I don't want to play pirates, blah, 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 blah. Like, why are pirates here all the time? And it's like, yeah, but they're the new hotness. Just let them be the new hotness for a bit. And then, they'll rotate like everything else does it's only a matter of time.
Yeah. To me, I thought it was really smart when I was reading through the patch notes and read about minion rotation and then saw that, hey, pirates are here. They're going to be in every game for X amount of time. Because that, to me, seems like the sort of thing that a past Team 5 wouldn't have done, and we would have been on the show going, man, you just added pirates, and I got like 7 games straight and no freaking pirates to draft. To me, that's the smart thing to do. Of course you would code it that way. I like it. I'm really happy. Even if I personally, I think pirates are a little underpowered at the moment. It could just be that there are so many people fighting over them that I am drafting literally anything else and easily getting top 3. But whatever the case is, I still want to see them. I still want to interact with them. I still want to fight against them. And I'm glad that that's happening consistently because that would be just a bummer if I played the last day and a half and barely saw the pirates.
I think that they're gonna fall off a little bit. Like, first of all, they're gonna start rotating in and out, but also I think they're gonna fall off just like dragons did. Dragons, when they were first put in for the first week or so, everyone was playing them, and then no one could get them to really work because so many people were competing for those resources, and we started going to other comps, and then people who wanted to play dragons could actually make something that really worked. And I think pirates are very, very similar. I think that right now some people are just going to get the nuts because that's how Battlegrounds works, but the vast majority of people who are playing pirates right now are not getting the minions that they necessarily want in order to make their comp work. And so because of that, I think that a lot of people are going to move away from them and do the Garrett thing, which is, play anything else, try to get high finishes.
Excuse me. I believe the word you're looking for is do the winning thing.
No, do the Garrett thing.
All right.
And then, people are going to, move to other comps. And then, we get HS replay stats and everyone says, oh my God, Saralisk is busted. And then people start doing Saralisk death rattle things. And, I'm free to have fun with pirates. Yar.
I gave it an honest try. I got to patch this game and I was like, this is it. I'm just going to force it. I'm going to force it. And not great. I'm sure I could have played it better. Definitely. But whatever the case is, I think this is a phenomenal update. All I really want to do right now is play Battlegrounds. They have succeeded in their mission. Well done, team. I look forward to playing a lot more and getting to talk about it with Celissa next week. So,
yay!
We have one more sponsor to thank today before we get into the news and talk about. We haven't even talked about the Felfire Festival yet, and that is a brand new sponsor today, Stamps.com. Now, Jocelyn, I am just not the biggest fan of going to the post office. I gotta put pants on. I gotta go wait in line. It is not something that I would deem pants-worthy. Luckily, Stamps.com is here to help. With Stamps.com, you can print postage on demand, and you can just get to skip those lines. You get to skip those crowds at the post office. Plus, you actually can save some money. You're going to get discounts that you can't even get at the post office. And on top of all of this, I didn't even know this was a thing. Stamps.com also offers UPS services with discounts up to 62% and no UPS residential surcharges. I, for whatever reason, find myself at UPS more often than I realize. I do a lot of like car part trading, Joss. I don't know if you know this, but when you like start modifying,
I did not know that.
When you start modifying cars, you start like joining like groups and clubs for that one specific car, and you're like, hey, does anyone have this part? You know, maybe it's lately used because I don't want to pay full price. And they're like, I do. Hey, what do you have? Maybe we could just trade. And I'm like, well, I've got this part and that part laying around. And suddenly you're in this like, you know, friendly group of people mailing boxes of junk to each other. So
car people are weird.
Listen, anyone with any hobby is weird if you are not into that hobby.
Fair enough.
You know, it's like trying to explain this podcast to people that don't know what the hell Hearthstone is. It's wonderful.
True.
It's great. But Stamps.com helps me with all of that. Stamps.com brings all the services of the U.S. Postal Service right to your computer in the safety and comfort of your home, office, or wherever it is that you are getting your work done. And they're supporting the Angry Chicken while they're doing it, because right now, listeners, you can get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale without any long-term commitment. So you can like weigh it and you know exactly how much postage you need to use. Who'd have thunk it? Just go to stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in TAC for the Angry Chicken. That's stamps.com. Enter TAC when you click on the microphone, and go check out that 4-week trial. Plus, you're going to get free postage and a freaking scale. It's great. Go check them out. We thank them for supporting us. Go to stamps.com and enter the code TAC. Now, Jocelyn, let's do it. Let's get to it and talk about the Felfire Festival in this week's Hearthstone news.
Good news, everyone!
Okay. I realize it's an audio, predominantly audio podcast. Our largest audience, get it on the download. You just listen to us. You don't look at our wonderful, beautiful faces, which frankly, I think you're missing out on the 2 best haircuts on the internet. If you're not watching the video version. But, Joss, I just got to say, the Felfire Festival trailer was made for me. It was like, hey, what would Garrett like the most? Yeah, I listened to Angry Chicken a few times. He really seems to like ridiculous over-the-top rock music and demons. Done. Make it. Make that a thing. Did you watch this trailer? It is absurd.
Yeah, it's so Hearthstone, right? Like, yeah, they're having so much fun over there.
It's so good. I really liked it. I was like, oh yeah, Fire. I'd like we were talking about this. I'm like, Fire Festival. Yeah, of course. We've had it before. You're changing the theme. Now I'm just like, now it's a trend, right? They've done it more than once. We've had the Fire Festival like 3 times now, or 4 times, and 2 out of those 4, they've changed the name and really themed it for what was currently going on in the Hearthstone expansion. So whatever the hell next year's first expansion is going to be, I'm just going to assume that the Fire Festival will be back and will be themed for whatever's going on. Because this time it's the Felfire Festival. It's in Outland. We're going to be fighting Mechatraxis. And yeah, it starts on June 17th. We're finally getting the solo adventure.
I was going to say, yeah, so June 17th, like the big story here is that's when we're getting the solo adventure, and it's a 5-chapter solo adventure that's free.
It is free, so that's a lot of content, and you can probably tell there's a big butt coming here. And it's free, and you're like, oh, that's great. There's basically no reward. You get a card back.
Yeah, you get a card back, yeah.
Yeah, so...
And there's probably, I would guess, going to be quests that have to do with it, right?
Well, they've confirmed it's in the announcement was the legendary quest. There's basically 3 dates.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. I thought that they'd only talked about the Felfire Festival legendary stuff. I didn't realize there was one for the solo adventure too.
Yeah, it basically spans 3 weeks, starting on June 17th. The next update is going to be on June 24th, and the 3rd and final update will be on July 1st. And there is a new leg of a legendary quest line on each of those 3 dates. And they coincide with the new things that are hitting the game on those dates. So June 17th, we get the Trial by Felfire story adventure. As you mentioned, it's a 5-chapter solo adventure. It's free. There's no new cards that are coming to shake up the standard meta or anything of that nature, which probably explains why it's free. If there was cards for your collection to go actually build decks with. They probably would have charged for this. It is just a card back, but it's still a lot of content. Apparently, we're going to be following Arana Starseeker, who is Elise's sister. She's going to be joining up with the Demon Hunters, partying up with Illidan, and taking the fight to Mechadraxus.
Yay.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
Just more Demon Hunters, Garrett. Just more Demon Hunters.
Okay. All right. I see what it is here. I see what it is.
I am totally biased against Demon Hunters, 100%.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody is talking about how thirsty they are for the new, clearly been working out Peggle. I would just like to talk about Arana Starseeker and those bangs for a second. That's all I want to put out there.
Yeah.
But, so don't take this away from me. I have to sit here and listen to everyone be like, Peggle is my new internet husband. But yeah. I'm still looking forward to this. Like Hearthstone has been weirdly endearing with its addition to its like unique canonical characters. Like I now know who Elise is and actually give a damn about that character. The same thing with Reno and Finley. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to some new Hearthstone lore here, which is something I never thought I'd be saying, but I kind of trust them here. And they're honestly hyping it up a bit. So I'm looking forward to playing through this, even if it is not really giving me anything in the terms of rewards that I usually get excited about. I have a lot of card backs at this point. I don't really get stoked about a new one unless it looks really freaking cool, which the Fairy Dragon one that was designed on stream does look very freaking cool. But whatever the case is, this is cool, and we're going to get the first part of the Legendary Quest line to complete just Chapter 1 of this 5-chapter solo adventure, and we're going to get an Ashes of Outland pack, a Year of the Dragon pack, those mix packs that we had in a bundle offered to us at the beginning of the year. And then a Rise of Shadows pack. And each of the legendary quests, there's going to be 3 of them over the 3 weeks, give 3 packs. The packs change up a little bit. There's 3 packs for all 3 of them. On June 24th, we're going to get the Trial by Felfire challenges. So it's a challenge mode version of the Trial by Felfire. Are you raising your hand?
I'm like, hang on, just stop, slow down. Well, you just skipped right over something else happening on June 17th, and we've spent a whole show talking about Battlegrounds, so I don't know how you missed this, but she's coming to Battlegrounds as a new hero that same day.
She is. We've talked a lot about Battlegrounds. I totally forgot. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, Arana's going to hit the game on June 17th. Passive hero power. After you refresh 7 times, Bob always has 7 minions.
She seems crazy.
That's a good hero power. Calling it now, Arana is going to have a high average placement. I need to start saying average placement instead of win rate. But Arana's going to do well in Battlegrounds. I'm calling it now.
So basically what that means, normally as you tavern up, you get more and more minions available to you from Bob. So each of those minions is kind of like a random roll within the pool to see what you're going to be offered. And so Arana is basically going to give you, after you've done something you're going to be doing as part of playing the game anyway, which is refreshing the tavern. Once you refresh 7 times, then you're just going to have a full tavern of 7 minions all the time, regardless of tavern tier. So I think she's going to be great. And I think that there's going to be a lot of different ways to play her, because I think that sometimes you're maybe going to want to stick on different tiers depending on what comp you're making. Sometimes you're going to want to go up really quickly and try to get as many 6 minions as you can. And I think that depending on, again, this is one hero I think it's going to interact really interestingly with the whole random minion pool, because sometimes you're going to want to play a different strategy with her depending on, you know, what minions you want to get and what options you want, because normally when you're down at tier 1 and 2, you're getting 3 choices and it's bad.
I'm just excited to be rewarded for refreshing more times than I should.
I think you refresh more than you should, and I don't refresh enough. There's got to be a happy medium, because normally I'm just like, okay, I've done my 1 refresh. Now I just have to make do with what I've got. And then I get these weird like Frankenstein comps. I don't know why this is Frankenstein.
I've done a lot better in Battlegrounds since I realized that refreshing a lot was my version of tilting. I'm just like, oh, I'm not getting what I want. I just keep refreshing instead of just buying and just going for the best I can manage with what the game is offering to me, but doing a lot better ever since. But it was a legitimate problem I had for a while in my strategy and the way I played the game. So whatever the case is, you're going to refresh. That hero power asks nothing of you but to play the game. So,
yeah.
Rana seems rad.
And then, yeah. So what is coming on June 24th?
Trial by Felfire Challenges. It's a trial mode version or a challenge mode version of the Trial by Felfire single player solo adventure. If you play all the way through that, that's how we get Golden Kael'thas, which I hadn't even thought about the fact that we couldn't get Golden Kael'thas until this exact moment.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, couldn't you just make him? But I guess you can't make him.
Nope,
so.
Apparently not. Listen, I've
never tried.
As the person who DEs most of his Goldens to fill out, again, as I've always said, I'm not a budget player, but I am a player on a budget. Yeah, Goldens aren't precious to me. So, but I love it when I have no choice but to keep Goldens. So, actually pretty interested in this. We're going to get the second part of the Legendary Quest as well, which is just to play 4 Trial by Felfire challenge games. Just play them. You don't have to win. You're going to get 3 more packs. And then finally on July 1st is the final leg of the Felfire Festival. We're going to get the Rumble Dome Tavern Brawl. We're getting the Burn Down Tavern Brawl, which is returning the week before, but the Rumble Dome is an all new brawl, and we're going to get the third and final part of the Legendary Quest line, giving us 3 more packs. And the only thing we're going to need to do for that is to just play the Tavern Brawl 4 times.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. So, yeah. Overall, I would say a solid event. I was trying to think, what happened last year? Because this wasn't the buff event last year. So, yeah, I'd say this is on par with the Fire Festival last year. And I'm kind of combining the big Pirate Battlegrounds patch today with this, just because that's when all the news dropped together. So, I'm giving this a freaking A+.
It was a lot to take in.
Yeah. There's a lot of awesome happening in Hearthstone. I was on the instance yesterday, Joce. I don't know if you realize this, but I'm like the only dude on that show that plays Hearthstone. So Scott's like, what's happening in Hearthstone, Garrett? And I'm like, everything.
Yeah, everything. You have like 3 hours? Come on.
Yeah, I just kind of started yelling at him.
Well, he deserved it.
Yeah. It's fun to report on this game on other shows that are just kind of touch on various aspects of what's happening at Blizzard, because it's just like, oh, nothing's happening in Hearthstone. Well, nothing's happening in Overwatch. Well, let me tell you about Hearthstone. So
they're knocking it out of the park right now.
Yeah, they're doing a very good job. And then Grandmasters, it's a kind of a sad week.
Well, it's, we knew that this was going to happen, right? We were very aware that this weekend was going to be highs and lows. And I think the relegations kind of overshadowed the fact that we have 3 people who are going to the global finals. I don't know why, but they just...
Thank you. Okay. We're on the same page.
Okay.
My takeaway, overall, I'm still really happy with Grandmasters this year. I'm officially kind of over the meta, but... Mm-hmm. I think this is the longest it has ever taken me to kind of reach that point where I'm like, I think I'm done. I'm ready for a shakeup in terms of the meta and the decks that are being played. In terms of the format of Grandmasters, this is the most I have liked it, without a doubt. My takeaway, if I were to look at something I think they could improve on, I think we should have a relegation week and a finals to the playoffs week, because you're absolutely right. I felt the same way. I was like, the relegation... it felt so much more important, but also just had a much stronger emotional impact than the players that were actually winning their spot in the finals.
Yeah, and so basically I found that the commentators also were highlighting relegation stuff a whole lot more. And I mean, it's been that way for the last few weeks. They've been talking about not, who has the best record, but how each and every match that you're playing through would then impact relegation. And obviously we had 2 people relegated at the end of the round robin. And then we had our relegation matches this weekend between the bottom 2 in Group A and the 5th and 6th place in Group B, which now that I've seen an entire Grandmasters season play out, I get what they were doing, but it took me the entire Grandmaster season to really understand the full system. But I think I like it. I'm there with you. I think this is a really good system. I liked having the Swiss to do the seeding and everything else. So I'm on board with the current format. But I really wish the casters would reframe the conversation and celebrate those who are doing really well. And I think a lot of that has to do with the perception. And I don't know if this has changed with some of the changes to the Masters Tour, or if this has changed with, 3 relegations, which on the flip side of that, it means 3 spots have opened up in Grandmasters. So there's a little bit more movement there. So I don't know if it's just like holdover from originally where, people were basically saying, well, if I get relegated out of Grandmasters, I'm just not going to play Pro Hearthstone anymore. And, like they have there's this really crazy, huge negativity like that is tied to being relegated out of Grandmasters, that basically like the perception is your career is over, which is kind of crazy. So, if you're looking at, say, like Orange, we haven't seen him. He got relegated at the end of last year in, I guess, season 2, 2019, if that's how we're labeling them now. But he got relegated last year. He's still playing in Masters Tours. Like, he's working his way back up. Like, he's doing really well. He's still playing. He's still streaming. Like, I don't think it's the career ending event that it's kind of being propped up to be. And so it's dominating the conversation. And that's really too bad, because I think that there's a lot more movement. I think there's a lot of ways to get back into Grandmasters. And I wish that they would focus on who is doing well, because I literally I watched the relegation matches, and then I didn't really watch anything else. I was just like, oh, okay, so that's not who's playing. And I didn't care. And it's the caster's job to make me care who's doing well and who's going to the finals. But I felt like that wasn't the story of the season, and it very much should have been. Like, when you're watching hockey, everyone's talking about who's going to be the next Stanley Cup champions. No one's talking about the teams that aren't going to make it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Unless they're the Leafs, because then it's just everyone pointing at me and laughing and going, another no playoff year, eh, Joss? Yeah.
Listen, I'm not a hockey fan, but I like football, and I'm a New York Giants fan, so I understand where you're coming from. But there's a lot of things there, and they're imperfect analogies, right? Like the team-based sports, I think that's one big difference, right? Like I think it's infinitely more personal when it's a 1v1 sport. And Hearthstone even more so, because we saw most of these players come up. All of the casters definitely did. So you're going to have that kind of feeling, and relegation literally mean like there's no guarantee they're coming back. Like if the Leafs lose, they're not just kicked out. Like,
the Leafs are always going to exist. Very true.
My point being, like, if that's how it worked, I think there'd be a much larger focus on the Leafs losing, because it's like, well, they're gone, everybody. We will now throw them into the sacrificial pit of not enough ways to get back into this esport.
But that's the thing. Like, I totally understand how it would have felt that way in 2019, right? We had no relegations in the first season of Grandmaster. In the second season of Grandmasters, we only had 2 relegated from each. Now we have 3 relegated from each. And also, that means we've got 3 people basically cycling through every time we have a season. So twice a year, there's a chance to get back in. And especially this year, because we're all stuck at home and none of these events are actually happening in person, it's even more so that way, right? Because people don't have to pay their way to events. They can all play from home. So it's like the most accessible it's probably ever going to be right now. So I would just like them to kind of reframe the conversation a little bit, because, I don't know. It very much felt like this was relegation weekend, and that's what mattered, to the point that, like, at first I didn't realize, probably like a week and a half ago, I didn't realize that, like, this was the last week of Grandmasters, that this is when we were going to crown a champion and they were going to be the global finals and blah, blah, blah. Because everyone was like, relegation was just dominating the conversation and the commentary. So I don't know. I wish they'd reframe it, because, the story of the season was all about that instead of who was going to win. So, but we do know now who has won and who is going to go to the global finals whenever and wherever those take place. Obviously, we know it's not going to be at BlizzCon, but we don't know exactly what is going to happen. But there will be a global finals sometime in November. So from North America, Purple lost, and it made me sad. It did make me sad. So Purple, PNC, and Papa Jason all got relegated from NA with Nalguidan beating out Purple. And Nalguidan almost had the same fate as Hunter Ace because he was in Group A and he lost his first 2 games, putting him into the relegation game on Sunday against Purple. And I was really, really rooting for Purple, partly because I wanted to see him stay because I'm a fan, but also because Nalguidan right now is the 3rd in Masters Tour earnings for North America, which means will still, if he had been relegated, depending on the results of Masters Tour Jönköping, which is happening next weekend, and Masters Tour APAC, which again, more people can attend because they're all online. But he had a really good chance of like getting relegated and then making it right back in again. So I was like, I can have the best of both worlds. If Purple wins, he gets to stay. And also Nalguidan will be back again because, you know, he's made a lot of money in the Masters Tour. So it was disappointing, but, you know, like I said, there's still chances to make your way back in. Yeah. And in terms of, sorry, go ahead, Garrett.
No,
Do you have NA relegation thoughts?
No, I was just agreeing. I am very sad about Purple.
Yeah. So we'll have to see, because I'm the other reason that the Purple relegation kind of worries me a little bit is because he is one of my favorite players, and he has expressed not willingness, but an intention, I guess, to retire. And he was going to retire from Hearthstone before they announced GMs. And then, you know, he was made a Grandmaster and he's like, well, I guess I'm not going anywhere. So now that he has been relegated out of Grandmasters, I would really hate to see him stop playing. But maybe he's just going to be a streamer now and I can watch him play Battlegrounds.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of my favorites to watch. I mean, I've never been a huge fan of individual Hearthstone streamers, but in the last year, I've really just kind of found a lot of joy watching the trifecta of Fire, Bat, Purple, and Zalay. I love when they guest on each other's streams. I find their very dry sense of humor infinitely watchable.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I was rooting for all 3 of them in Grandmasters, basically. And so I was basically set up for disappointment because I had a lot of players I was rooting for in NA.
Yeah, I should say, when I'm talking about him retiring, I'm talking about him retiring from competitive standard constructed Hearthstone. Yeah. Obviously he's still going to be playing the game in some capacity since we have Battlegrounds now, and that has been something that he has shown a lot of interest and skill in. So I expect him to still be playing the game. I expect him to still be streaming. Just it'll be weird not to have because he's another one, and we're going to talk about EU in a minute, but he's another one who's been around forever in competitive Hearthstone. I mean, he kind of came up as a coach of a lot of the more well-known players, and I think he was coaching for Arcane, right, back when that was a thing. So, and then before he kind of became a competitor in his own right when they started the other, I guess it wasn't Masters Tour back then, it was Tour Stops. But through all the iterations that have been competitive Hearthstone, Purple has definitely been a force. So it was kind of unfortunate to see him get relegated this weekend, but we will see what happens. The person who actually ended up winning the NA finals and will be heading to his 3rd global final in a row, mic drop, Bloody Face, has qualified for the global finals. He defeated Eddie, and it was the most, I guess, obvious final of the weekend because they were the 2 top players from Group A. So it was kind of like, yep, the people in the finals are the people you'd expect to be in the finals. And I really wanted to highlight that because I feel like there's a lot of conversation right now, and it's not necessarily wrong to say that there's a lot of RNG in Hearthstone right now. It's definitely one of the most RNG heavy metas that we've had in comparison to some of the ones that, you know, didn't have puzzle boxes in them. But at the same time, you have 2 players like Bloody Face qualifying for his 3rd finals in a row, defeating the 2nd place person from Group A, which is where they were seeded through Swiss. That's some consistency, you guys. So I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's potentially a conversation to be had around RNG, but I don't think you can say that people who won and people who got relegated was random.
I'm with you there. I do have a short thought on RNG, but probably shorter than you think.
Okay.
Which is like, I kind of want to talk about Puzzle Box and specifically how it, in regards to Silvername.
Yeah.
And there's, I mean, Silvername, again, you want another consistent player, someone I've really grown to like over watching Grandmasters. And also Silvername was already up 2-0 in that matchup. Like, but at the same time, it's like, I'm so annoyed by like the existence of Puzzle Box because to me, like, we went through this already. I thought we learned our lesson, and I want to get up on a soapbox and talk about it, but I'm done. Like, this is stupid as far as I'm concerned. The existence of Puzzle Box, I think, is one of the dumbest things in the history of Hearthstone. We learned a lesson with the Oxeron, I thought, and apparently we forgot it. Because we reverted it in frickin' Wild, and we basically built the same stupid card that can be cheated out for bullshit amounts of mana much earlier in the game. So
Garrett has some opinions, you guys.
That's it. That's all I've got. I would talk more, but I've already spent years talking about this. Puzzle Box is the stupidest ass card in the history of Hearthstone.
Well, all right then.
It doesn't belong in a game that's played competitively. If you want Hearthstone esports to be taken seriously, that card needs to go, and card design like that needs to go. Or you need to make a new card game mode, which maybe they are, and your insane, ridiculous, fun things, which they're good for fun, but I think they are trash for competitive.
Maybe we need to revisit the idea of something that Hearthstone said that they would never do, but maybe it needs to be done is keeping the constructed standard ladder open for all cards and for, you know, the funsies, but maybe banning cards like Puzzle Box in competitive matchups. Like, maybe we just need to revisit card bans for competitive play.
That would be an improvement, but I would like the same care given to our games at home.
I know. I think that, and I mean, this is probably a much larger conversation because we're already pushing the 2-hour mark on the show.
That's why I said like that. That's about all I've got. I would like to take more time, but I don't know. Rewind 3 freaking years and listen to our conversation about Yatsuron because you're going to hear the same issues with the exact same problems.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. So speaking of Silvername and not speaking about Puzzle Box anymore, because that's a trigger word for Garrett, apparently.
I love Silvername. I'm so stoked for Silvername. And again, I want to give Silvername credit. Like in all like fairness, I think a little too much weight is being placed on Puzzle Box because Silvername has been putting up a fight for 2 years now in Grandmasters. And as I mentioned in that matchup, he was already up 2-0. He was at match point. Like, all right, it's going to happen sometimes. If not puzzle, like there could be significantly less high range RNG cards that could lead to a random effect that could put you ahead. Like,
right.
Yeah. So big credit to Silvername. Stoked to see him moving on.
Right. And he had probably one of the most interesting stories of the weekend because he qualified for his first finals. So he was the winner in EU after going 2-5 in the round robin. And the only reason that he was in playoffs and Hunter Ace was down in the relegation matches is because of tiebreakers. So we ended up with, like, the EU story this weekend was just crazy because we ended up with these 2-5 players in Group A, one getting relegated, one going and winning the whole entire thing. And that was based strictly, like, the situations they were in were based strictly off of tiebreakers. So it was super, super crazy, super close, lots of drama. And basically, so Silvername went on to win. He went 12-1 in games after losing his first playoff round. So he had a very, very, very dominant performance, only dropping one game to, I believe it was Swids, who also beat him in the first playoff round. So he was also, like, playing in the lower bracket to get up there. Like, he had a very, very impressive weekend. And Hunter Ace, on the other hand, like, Hunter Ace is the entire flip side of the coin here because Hunter Ace now joins Kalento and Pavel, which means we relegated 2 world champions plus Kalento out of EU this weekend. And he lost. He did what I said last week was probably impossible, which was a Group A player losing all 3 matches over Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then ended up getting relegated. So
was that,
I mean,
it came down to Demon Hunter Mirror, right?
Yeah.
Is the game I'm thinking of? I don't even, who was he playing against?
There's a couple times that it came down to Demon Hunter Mirrors.
Yeah, but Hunter Ace specifically, wasn't it like his opponent wasn't even playing Outcast correctly, but Hunter Ace threw so poorly that he still lost.
Went on such a Demon Hunter rant after this game because I watched this game and the game finished. Hunter Ace got relegated. His heart looked like it was breaking on camera. And I muted the casters. I just turned to my husband who was sitting next to me on the couch and I was just like, he didn't even play correctly and he still won. Demon Hunter's wasn't it? Like you thought Garrett's Yogg puzzle box rant was bad. My Demon Hunter one was worse. Which is another one we don't need to get into right now. But yeah, it definitely was. It was not the greatest game of Hearthstone ever played. And Hunter Ace now has been relegated down to, I guess, Masters Tour stops. So we won't be seeing Hunter Ace in Grandmasters next year.
Yeah, I know what happens.
Or next season.
I know what happens. Sometimes this is just how card games go sometimes. But that is not how I expected Hunter Ace to go out. Yeah,
and he said that I think he tweeted out on after his game on Saturday that put him into the final relegation match on Sunday. He said, I'm getting really, really tilted. I'm thinking too much about relegation and not thinking enough about my games. And and I mean, I watched his match on Sunday and I didn't think that he necessarily played poorly at all. It's just, he did play poorly to put himself in that position in the first place. And he did that because, again, so much focus is on how career-ending relegation is. And I think Hunter Ace is the perfect example of that, where, he just got way too much in his head over this past weekend about the fact that he could possibly be relegated and then was. So I really think it's a shame. But Silver Name did qualify. So I think it's great. He's definitely, like you said, put in the work. And I think he, out of all of the people we saw this weekend, had probably the most to prove because he hasn't had the greatest results in Grandmasters. And he comes from, I believe, one of the, the position he originally got in Grandmasters was one of the community, streamer, whatever they called them positions, the influencer positions, for lack of a better term. It was how he got into Grandmasters in the first place. So he's worked really, really hard since he first got the spot. And now he's qualified for his first final. So good on him.
Yeah. Yeah. I really do feel like, again, overall, complete about Puzzle Box aside, I think we're at a major net positive for Grandmasters. I think it's off to a great start, major improvement over last year. And I know you and I were talking we want to try our best to not have really big overarching conversations about if it's good or if it's bad until we've actually had a full year of it. But after this weekend, it feels like maybe the Masters Tour is the next thing we need to look at, having more of it or more paths to Grandmaster.
They definitely, they swung the other way because we went from having tour stops, which were basically weekly, and then, or I guess bi-weekly. And then we kind of swung to this, 6 in a year. So, bi-monthly. And I think maybe they just went too far that way. Because I think if they gave players, more ways to win money more often so that if you are a consistent player, you can actually make a career out of being a Hearthstone player just through the Masters Tour, and Grandmasters doesn't feel so be all end all. I think that the esport in general will be in a much better place. But without going too far into all of that, I think that will probably be a conversation to be had in November. We did have APAC that finished this weekend as well. So Frosty, Samuel Zhao, and Staz were all relegated, which means that Australia and the Philippines unfortunately lost their only representation in Grandmasters, which is really too bad because those are some really kind of up and coming Hearthstone scenes, and it's really too bad to see them lose their representation in Grandmasters. So hopefully someone will make a run at Masters Tour APAC, which is happening, I believe, July 16th to the 18th. And again, that's going to be one of the online ones. So basically, the locations for Masters Tour now are just time zone indicators more than anything else. And then Glory is going to be representing APAC. He defeated Surrender 3-2, and he has just been absolutely dominating Hearthstone. So we had through the whole season, we had multiple different, types of or ways to play. So we had the Swiss round, and Glory got the most points through the Swiss round. So he was the highest seeded player going into the round robin. Then he finished a round robin going 6-1. And then so he was first in Group A over in APAC. And then he went undefeated through playoffs. So Glory flexing a little bit over in APAC, and he is going to be representing that region come global finals in November.
That type of consistency is so wild in card games.
Well, especially
I expect that out of
Swiss.
StarCraft.
Like Swiss was different formats, even
I expect that out of a game like StarCraft or fighting games, where it's very zero sum. Whereas it's like, are you better? You win. Like there's no chance. Like there's no randomness really at all to speak of. So like that's Glory is scary. That's nuts. I also want to give a shout out to Empanizzato. I was really rooting for him. He's obviously not out of GM. We're going to see more of Empanizzato, but just was rad. Like, because you remember, you probably go back to the first week. I was like, "Who's Empanizzato?"
Yeah.
Dude just killed it, and he's got such a great story. I couldn't help but root for the guy, and so I'm really stoked for Bloodyface. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big Bloodyface fan, and I also love that my wife Katie, who does not follow this at all, it's like, oh, it's the emo kid when she walks past. She's like, hey, he still doesn't have his lights on, and I'm I love Bloodyface. So I don't want to take anything away there, but I'm glad Empanizzato is still in Grandmasters, and I was thrilling watching him just own in season 1. So.
Yeah, and I mean, this was his first season in Grandmasters too, so I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of him, and it's really impressive. Both he and Language Hacker actually had really, really good results through this, I guess, season 1 of 2020. They did. They both did really, really well. So good showing from the new additions on the NA side of Grandmasters.
Yep. So good start. We'll see how it progresses on to the finals.
Yeah.
The mid-year finals, I guess. Like, what are they technically calling these?
I think it's the global finals. I think at least that's what it was last year, I believe. Unless they're calling it the World Championship, which they might also be doing. I don't know. I've kind of seen it both ways, so I don't know what's community-driven nomenclature and what is actually the name of the event, but whatever the case is, it's happening in November. We know that much. We just don't know where or how or what, but
well, I think that's as good a place as any to bring a now 2-hour podcast to a close. Folks, if you like our show, you want to support us, head on over to patreon.com/TAC. We really appreciate the support we get over there. It all adds up. Even if if you can't, be a producer or whatever, it all adds up. We really appreciate it, everybody. So go check it out. Get yourself some perks. Go hang out in the Discord with our other fine patrons. It's a great little community in there. Also, huge thanks to our producers, Declan H and Cheesy Bob. Thank you so much for the support, you two. If you want to catch more Angry Chicken, head on over to amove.tv. You can see the entire back catalog over there. You can also go to youtube.com/amovetv for our Angry Chicken clips, which are edited and more visually embellished. We're working with an editor now. I think he's doing some phenomenal work. I was laughing out loud watching some of the clips from last week. And if you want to see the full uncut VOD, you can go to youtube.com/amove2. AMOVE numerical 2. That's where the full uncut VODs are going. But other than that, Joce, where can folks find you when you're not being an angry parrot?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch. I'm at Joce Plays. That's JOCE Plays. Come check it out.
I'm Garrett Art on Twitter, AMoveTV for everything else. Joce, you and I did a thing. We did a thing. Folks, you may not know, but I'm doing a series of shorts for the Arrowhead Center YouTube, which is over at the New Mexico State University. You go to youtube.com/arrowhead right now, or just go to bit.ly/remotejoce. That's remote, JOCE. Because Jocelyn, you joined me for my series of short videos on working remotely and told me all about what it was like starting a new office job and then immediately having to go to work from home when the pandemic hit.
Like 7 weeks later.
Yeah. And it's not out yet, but I hear there's a part 2.
No way.
Yeah. So if you want to see me flex my video editing chops, you should go check out the Remotely series. There's a ton of videos over there already. They're anywhere between 4 to 10 minutes. Tom Merritt was my previous guest, and then I have a ton of solo videos that we started the series with. So go check it out, bit.ly/remotejoss. It's going to do it for this episode of The Angry Chicken. Until next time, job's done.
Job's done.
Yarr.
We made it.
Why is the rum gone? Because you drank it all, you damned fool. What a friggin' episode.
I didn't think it was going to be that long. I was literally like, I picked a really, really long email because I was like, there's going to be, yeah.
So I started
I
started making quick mentions of the minions we weren't going to talk about, and then you had very strong pirate opinions, and I was like, "It's going to be a 2-hour episode." I had a feeling it's going to be a long one. I'll say it went longer than I thought as well, but it also didn't. I don't know. Like, I just felt like I could have kept going. Like, I was so stoked about everything we were talking about today. Like,
I felt so bad that we skimmed through the Grandmaster section because there were some really interesting conversations to be had. I almost wanted to gray it out and talk about it next week, but I was like, but it's news now.
It is news. We had to talk about relegations. There's no way. Like, it just had to be done. What I was going to say is, like, when we used to do card by card review season talks, like, I just get tired at a certain point during that. I get kind of winded. This, I was just like, everything is awesome.
You start doing a Lego dance.
Yeah. Like my arms are
like
very, very limited ranges of motion.
It's like the extreme robot, the Lego dance.
Yep.
I don't know. Yeah, my brain is just done today. I don't know what's going on. Like, I couldn't remember card names. Normally, that's my jam.
Yeah, I love that we were both just useless for the selfless.
Selfless hero. Yeah.
Is that what it's called, selfless hero?
Maybe.
Anyways, chat room, you were great. Thanks for hanging, everybody. Happy seeing so many of you here today. Damn right, Mixed Clouds. It definitely was Hunter Ace what the fuck weekend. That is exactly what it was. Yeah. Yep. All right, folks. We're gonna bring the stream down. It's gonna take us a while to get this shit posted. And we do need to get it posted, so we will talk to you all later.
You were also sweary McSwearface today.
What,
didn't drop any F-bombs, but yeah, you said shit like 5 times.
I say shit all the time. I love shit. Shit is a great word. Shit is a fantastic word. Say shit often.
New show title.
All right, everybody. We'll see you later. We love you all. Fuck Puzzle Box.